Have you ever wondered why Japan, a country known for its tranquility and harmony, became a major antagonist during World War II? As we turn back the pages of history to the early 20th century, we see a different Japan. A nation with growing military power, fueled by imperial ambitions, Japan was increasingly becoming a force to be reckoned with on the world stage. Its military and political leaders, driven by a desire for expansion, began to cast their eyes beyond their island borders, marking the beginning of an era that would forever change the course of history. The year was 1941. Without a formal declaration of war, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, a strategic U.S. naval base. This audacious move shocked the world, and more importantly, it nudged an isolationist United States into the raging storm of World War II. But as we know, this sudden attack on the U.S. was only the beginning of a series of events that would eventually lead to Japan's downfall. So, how did a nation so powerful and determined find itself on the losing side of history? The turning of the tide began with decisive battles such as Midway and Guadalcanal, where the Allies started to regain control over the Pacific. At Midway, the Japanese Navy suffered a devastating blow, losing 4 of their frontline aircraft carriers, a pivotal moment that turned the tide in favor of the Allies. Meanwhile, the 6-month-long battle at Guadalcanal marked the first major offensive by Allied forces against the Empire of Japan. While the Japanese fought fiercely, they were ultimately unable to hold their ground due to strategic errors and resource limitations. From these struggles emerged a pattern. Japan's military strategy, initially so successful, was faltering. The country's resource constraints became increasingly apparent, undermining its war effort. The relentless Allied pressure began to shake the once invincible fortress. Despite their initial successes, Japan's military might was beginning to crumble under the relentless pressure from the Allies. But what was the final nail in the coffin that sealed Japan's fate in World War II? Enter the atomic age. In a desperate bid to end the war, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in early August of 1945. The devastation was unimaginable. These cities were obliterated in an instant, and the lives of hundreds of thousands were extinguished or irrevocably altered. The destructive capacity of these weapons was unlike anything the world had ever seen before. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union, seizing the opportunity, declared war on Japan, further weakening its ability to continue the fight. These 2 events, occurring in rapid succession, were a 1-2 punch that left Japan reeling. The nation, already stretched thin by years of war, was unable to recover. The unimaginable destruction and the added pressure from the Soviet Union left Japan with no choice but to surrender. These cataclysmic events brought about Japan's surrender, marking the end of World War II. So, what can we learn from Japan's defeat in World War II? A story unfolds, one of initial triumph turning to despair. Japan, once a force to be reckoned with due to its surprise attacks and military prowess, soon found itself at a turning point. As the tide of the war shifted, so too did its fortunes. The catastrophic events that marked the end of the war led to its ultimate surrender. But the true cost of war is measured not only in surrendered arms, but in the devastation that it leaves in its wake. Cities were reduced to rubble, countless lives were lost, and a nation was left to pick up the pieces. From this, one lesson emerges above all: the enduring value of peace. War brings temporary power, transient glory, but peace cultivates life, fosters growth. In remembering Japan's role in World War II, we are reminded of the cost of ambition unchecked, the fragility of power, and the enduring value of peace.